The juvenile eye fish often dwells in the mud of rivers and lakes, seldom appearing and weaving through the river's silt. As time passes, the adult eye fish can grow to a length of 1,000 fathoms, burrowing through the mud to travel toward surrounding immortal mountains, where it sleeps within the mountains. On the immortal Aura continent, these fierce eye fish are usually sealed as guardian beasts for various sections. They are not favored by cultivators, for once they enter the mountains, they merge with the land, infusing the mountain with spirit. Although this results in a change, it is not long before the mountain turns into a vast desert of yellow sand. To prevent these eye fish from consuming too much of the immortal chi, they must be bound. In fact, any eye fish discovered on the immortal Aura continent is immediately sealed. Wong Lin sat cross-legged in the yellow sand desert of the Cultivation star, surrounded by the howling wind. The winds whipped up vast sandstorms, obscuring the sky and turning everything to shadow. Wong Lin learned of the eye fish from his third soul. In the memory of the rainbow immortal venerable, he recalled once bringing a juvenile eye fish into the 300 broken realms, intending to raise it for a while before extracting it. However, the immortal venerable perished, his soul scattered, and the plan ended in regret. It wasn't until Wong Lin's earlier escape that he sensed the presence of this fierce beast's aura, followed by the sight of the yellow sand desert of the Cultivation star, which stirred his mind and brought him back to this place. He reached out and touched the yellow sand, which faintly emanated a trace of spiritual energy. As he extended his divine sense, he discovered the aura of the fierce beast within the Cultivation star. The signs suggested that the fierce beast here was most likely the eye fish. A free-roaming eye fish has survived in this broken realm for a long time. It must have undergone strange changes. This star domain only has this one Cultivation star left, indicating that the other stars have already been devoured and absorbed by the eye fish. This is the last one. Wong Lin withdrew his divine sense, and the entire Cultivation star slowly emerged in his mind. Here, I can set up an ambush. His eyes glinted coldly. Raising his right hand and forming a seal, countless shadows of restrictions appeared, overlapping to form the world-incinerating umbrella. As the umbrella emerged, waves of heat surged, soaring into the sky. Winds and clouds scattered, and a massive umbrella slowly opened, appearing in the starry heavens. Once open, the umbrella fabric fused with the sky, and the ribs of the umbrella became fierce, like pillars connecting heaven and earth. Wong Lin looked up at the burning canopy of the umbrella, biting the tip of his tongue to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. As soon as the blood appeared, it ignited and surged toward the canopy. The umbrella slowly faded, and even the massive ribs gradually became transparent, disappearing without a trace. The world-incinerating umbrella merged with the void, indistinguishable from it. Anyone stepping into the heavens of this Cultivation star would be enveloped by the ancient umbrella. This was the first ambush. Panting slightly, even with Wong Lin's cultivation at the late ethereal stage, using this umbrella was somewhat difficult, especially as he aimed to unleash its full power, which consumed a great deal of energy. I can still make it stronger. Wong Lin raised his right hand, pointing at his left eye. Immediately, the fire origin in his left pupil transformed and began to burn fiercely. With a swipe of his right hand, a sea of flames erupted from his left eye, roaring as it formed a massive fiery vermilion bird, soaring into the sky. The vermilion bird was enormous. Its tail feathers fanned out like a phoenix. After circling the sky a few times, it dissolved into the heavens. Wong Lin closed his eyes, calmly breathing for a while. When he suddenly opened them, he formed another seal with his hands, muttering under his breath. Moments later, brilliant seven-colored light exploded from his palms. This seven-colored light, identical to the divine ability of the Rainbow Taoist, shone even more brightly as Wong Lin used it. It eventually enveloped all directions of the Cultivation star. Seven-colored Tao Spear. Wong Lin shouted, extending both hands toward the sky. With a rumble, the seven-colored light shot up, gathering in the sky, where it formed a brilliant seven-colored spear. The spear radiated an overwhelming aura. Once it formed, it hummed and soared through the heavens, finally descending with a bang, piercing into the earth beside Wong Lin. This was the second ambush. Having used two great divine abilities, Wong Lin's expression showed signs of fatigue, but he did not pause. His hands formed another seal on his forehead, and his body immediately became surrounded by overlapping shadows. In moments, these shadows twisted as Wong Lin's true body and clone separated. The true body of Tao Ancient's inheritance stood up and shot into the sky. With a grab in the air, the world seemed to tremble as a giant heaven-splitting axe appeared in his hand. After seizing it, the axe disappeared at his side. The full force of Tao Ancient's inheritance, the third ambush. After the third ambush, Wong Lin's expression showed some signs of exhaustion. His breathing became more rapid. After adjusting for a moment, he opened his eyes again. With a sweep of his right hand through the air, the ghost face canvas appeared before him. This item, originating from the immortal Aura continent, was undoubtedly a precious treasure. Wong Lin's research on it was not exhaustive, but he could still use this canvas to perform illusions. Staring at the ghostly face within the canvas, he remained silent for a moment before biting his left index finger. Blood poured out as he quickly pointed at the mouth of the ghostly face. Instantly, the blood was sucked away by the ghostly face, spreading across its surface. Within 3 breaths, half of Wong Lin's blood was absorbed, making his face pale. At the 4th breath, the ghostly face stopped absorbing blood, its eyes glowing with a strange red light. With a flick of his right hand, Wong Lin sent the canvas flying, and the ghostly face immediately manifested, letting out a silent roar. It swelled in size, quickly covering the entire cultivation star before vanishing without a trace. Once the ghostly face disappeared, the surrounding world seemed to change subtly, though it was hard to pinpoint what exactly had shifted. This ghostly face illusion was Wong Lin's 4th ambush. Sweat dripped from his forehead. After wiping it off, he took a deep breath. Raising his right hand, he pointed at the sky. Suddenly, the earth trembled as a small point of ethereal light manifested and rapidly expanded. The netherworld beast appeared before him. Though the beast's body had not fully expanded and was only about 100 feet in size, the coldness and ruthlessness in its eyes were enough to shake the hearts of all who saw it. With another point from Wong Lin, the netherworld beast closed its eyes. Its body slowly thinned and eventually transformed into a mist that spread across the sky and the earth, covering everything in a thick fog. This netherworld beast was Wong Lin's 5th ambush. Meanwhile, Wong Lin's cultivation clone sat cross-legged in the yellow sand desert. His expression now showed deep fatigue. This continuous use of divine abilities was something he had never done in his life. If these techniques had been used in a battle, there would have been no time to fully unleash them, but right now, he had the time to prepare. There's still the 6th ambush, Wong Lin muttered as he raised his left hand. His fingertip, though already covered in dried blood, was torn open again, and he used the blood to draw a circle around himself. As the blood circle completed, Wong Lin spat out a mouthful of his primordial essence and infused it into the circle. The blood and spiritual energy spread across the circle, creating a powerful, bloody aura mixed with the world's primal energy. As this aura spread, the entire cultivation star trembled. A shockwave rippled out from the core of the earth, shaking the ground, making the yellow sand rise like waves. Without hesitation, Wong Lin formed a seal with his right hand. His pupils immediately became bloodshot, and the blood quickly gathered into a surge that fused with the circle, concealing the energy released from it. After a while, the earth's trembling slowly faded, and Wong Lin let out a long breath. That eye fish is my 6th ambush. A cold glint flashed in his eyes, and a faint golden light emerged from his pupils, radiating an extremely pure immortal bloodline power. This was all that remained within his body. With a grasp of his right hand, the Liguang Bao appeared with a flash of golden light. Wong Lin gripped it tightly. Looking up at the sky, he closed his eyes and carefully deduced the next steps of his plan. This Liguang Bao was his final ambush, the 7th ambush. 7 ambushes set, preparing for this earth-shattering scheme. Time passed, and another incense stick burned. Wong Lin opened his eyes without hesitation. With a wave of his left hand, a black incense stick appeared in front of him, unlit. He flicked the incense in the air, and instantly, it ignited, releasing a dense, black smoke that rose quickly like a signal fire. It wasn't over. After the incense stick was lit, Wong Lin tossed it forward. The incense shot out and stabbed into the yellow sand, its flame flickering, and the black smoke grew thicker. Wong Lin's left hand moved again, and this time, a closed-eyed Zixiao appeared before him. Wong Lin felt no sympathy. He pointed at Zixiao's forehead, and she trembled, showing a painful expression that, paired with her breathtaking beauty, made her seem pitifully helpless. But Wong Lin's eyes remained cold. The moment his fingertip touched her, Zixiao's eyes snapped open. In a desperate struggle, her right hand, no longer under her control, rose, and with a tremble, reached into the air, pulling out a jade slip. Gripping the jade slip, Zixiao's struggle intensified, but she couldn't control her mind or body. She sent a mental message through the jade slip, and in a flash of light, it shattered. With the 7 ambushes set, using the incense and jade slip, Wong Lin threw out the bait, now waiting for the prey to fall into his trap. A grand battle would soon unfold on this cultivation star. In this battle, Wong Lin had no hope of killing the Rainbow Taoist or the War Ghost, but what he sought wasn't death. Sometimes, severely wounding someone was enough to achieve the same level of destruction. After all, whether it is the War Ghost or the Rainbow Taoist, once either of them is severely wounded, it would give the other a huge opportunity. An elderly man dressed in a coarse green robe walked through the starry sky of one realm. After only a few steps, he suddenly raised his head sharply, his eyes glinting with an unusual light. Whose battle incense has been lit? Could it be that something has been discovered? The old man swayed slightly, and a vortex appeared before him as he followed the scent. A middle-aged man in a purple Taoist robe sat cross-legged on the cultivation star of another realm, carefully searching with a scattered mind. Suddenly, his nose twitched, as if he had smelled something. His eyes flickered, and without hesitation, he vanished instantly. All the disciples of the 7 Paths sect from the ancient immortal domain beyond the boundary sensed the incense burning within this realm and moved in unison. Meanwhile, the 6th consort, who had entered the cave mansion core along with Wong Lin, and the 3rd consort, still a maiden and unfamiliar with Wong Lin, both sensed the scent of the 7 Paths sect's incense from different realms. The 6th consort's eyes revealed a look of hatred. Having narrowly escaped Wong Lin's grasp in the past, she gritted her silver teeth and immediately headed towards the scent. As for the 3rd consort, her expression was cold, and a complex emotion spread in her eyes. She hesitated, unsure whether to go or not. Her purpose for coming to the cave mansion core was entirely different from the others. Her only goal was to go home. She longed for her homeland and her sect, wanting to leave the cave mansion realm and return to the immortal firmament continent. After a moment of indecision, she bit her lip and vanished. In addition to the incense guiding them, the jade slip in the hands of the purple cloud Taoist also played a role. The instant the jade slip shattered, 3 figures, the azure dragon general, the black tortoise general, and the vermilion bird general, felt it across the 300 broken realms, and they quickly moved toward the source of the sound. The War Ghost, who had been following a group of cultivators, furrowed his brow, somewhat suspicious. After the jade slip shattered, his body jolted, and his expression immediately darkened. He turned and cast a murderous glance at the group, then swiftly turned around and left. As for the Rainbow Taoist, he continued to move forward. The barriers connecting the realms could no longer withstand the strain and suddenly collapsed. But at that very instant, the 7 colors of light flashed, solidifying the collapse. Standing there, Rainbow Taoist gazed at the empty space ahead. Wong Lin's presence dissipated with the collapse of the barrier, leading Rainbow Taoist to immediately piece together what had happened. His eyes burned with fury, and with a maddened roar, he turned sharply, locking his gaze on the space behind him. Wong Lin, if I don't kill you, I swear I won't rest. Rainbow Taoist stepped forward and vanished in an instant. The combined aura of the incense and the shattered jade slip sent an unmistakable signal. This aura spread like black smoke under the midday sun, clearly detectable by all. At this moment, Rainbow Taoist also sensed it, and with full speed, he rushed toward the source. Wong Lin's avatar sat calmly, his right hand holding the Liguang bow, which was bent like a crescent moon, with one end buried deep in the yellow sand, 3 inches into the ground. Wong Lin gripped the bow and closed his eyes. From a distance, he looked more like a hunter awaiting prey than a cultivator. After a long time, numerous vortices suddenly appeared in the starry sky of the realm. From within these vortices, individuals stepped out, each searching for something. Of the 4 great generals, the White Tiger was absent, but the other 3 arrived. The 6th consort and the 3rd consort also appeared, along with several disciples from the 7 Paths sect, led by the elderly man in a coarse green robe. The Palm Sovereign and Blue Dream Dao Sovereign also emerged from the roaring vortices. Both appeared slightly fatigued. When they glanced at each other, a coldness filled their eyes, indicating that they had fought within the 300 broken realms. Many cultivators had arrived in this realm, but none took the first step toward the cultivation star, despite sensing Wong Lin's presence the moment they entered. The 3rd consort gazed at the distant cultivation star, her expression complicated. She no longer knew whether Wong Lin was an enemy or a friend. Not long after, the elder from the 5-element star and others emerged from the vortex. After sweeping their gaze over the crowd, they turned toward the distant cultivation star. At that moment, a massive vortex appeared out of nowhere, violently torn apart by the 7-colored light that extended from it. The 7-colored light flashed, and the rainbow Taoist appeared. Almost simultaneously with the appearance of the rainbow Taoist, the war ghost also emerged from the void. The 2 locked eyes from 1,000 feet apart, but quickly turned their gazes away. With a cold snort, the rainbow Taoist moved first, heading straight for the distant cultivation star. The war ghost followed a little behind, walking slowly. Behind them, the rest of the group moved forward, with only the elder from the 5-element star and his companions standing motionless in the starry sky, watching coldly. The 3rd consort, still hesitant, did not take a step forward. The figure of the rainbow Taoist moved the fastest. In an instant, he appeared outside the cultivation star. He looked at the star carefully, his brows furrowing. With his cultivation, he could easily detect something amiss on this star, especially sensing the terrifying aura of a fierce beast deep within the planet's core, which sent a chill through him. All of this caused the rainbow Taoist to hesitate, pausing in his steps outside the cultivation star. This star cannot be refined. If it were, it would definitely provoke that fierce beast, and the loss would far outweigh any gain. Wong Lin must have chosen to wait here with this in mind. Almost as soon as the rainbow Taoist arrived and stopped outside the cultivation star, Wong Lin suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze was calm, and his left hand rose to his forehead, tapping it lightly. In his raised hand, a dark light swirled, and from within his body, he drew out his 3rd soul. He released his hand, and the 3rd soul floated above Wong Lin's head, a yard in the air, its radiance spreading out, its presence completely unmasked, its aura echoing far and wide. To others, the allure of this 3rd soul was nowhere near as strong as that of the rainbow Taoist or the war ghost. But for them, the moment the 3rd soul floated from Wong Lin's hand, it was as if they had placed their life's deepest desires right before them, within easy reach. Such a temptation was utterly irresistible to the 2 of them. Anyone who approaches within a yard of me may take this soul. Wong Lin's voice echoed, spreading out from the star and shaking the vast starry sky, causing a series of thunderous roars. The rainbow Taoist's eyes glowed red. At that moment, he no longer considered the ambush the star might hold. With a swift motion, he shot forward, believing that with his cultivation, apart from being wary of the sleeping beast within the star, there was nothing else to worry about. If he has set up an ambush here, let him entangle himself in it. With a single step, the rainbow Taoist fully entered the cultivation star, appearing beneath the star's sky. The war ghost, unable to resist the temptation, almost stepped into the star simultaneously with the rainbow Taoist. Behind them, the other cultivators hesitated for a moment before following, not intending to compete, but unwilling to miss the chance to witness it. Among them, the azure dragon, black tortoise, and vermilion bird stepped out of the crowd and into the sky of the star. Faced with so many people, Wong Lin's expression remained calm, but inwardly, he was filled with battle intent. His hand gripped the Liguang bow more tightly. Who knows how many I can kill here to offer as sacrifices to EC. Wong Lin raised his gaze to the sky, which at that moment rumbled, the entire sky like a storm, rolling and crashing. Wong Lin saw the rainbow Taoist, then the war ghost, and the rest of the cultivators who had entered. First ambush, world incinerating ancient umbrella. Umbrella refines all living beings. Wong Lin formed a hand seal with his left hand, and the moment the rainbow Taoist and others arrived, he pointed to the sky. The heavens shook, and immediately, the sky turned red, not blood red, but fire red. A sea of flames erupted, enveloping the entire world. At that moment, the sky itself, now burning with flames, rippled with waves of energy. The massive ancient umbrella, which had merged with the sky, detached from it. The previously vanished umbrella ribs also reappeared, and the giant umbrella shaft, like a pillar, crashed into existence. The umbrella cloth replaced the sky, blocking the retreat of all those who had entered, as if a door had been slammed shut. The body of the Blue Dream Tao sovereign was enveloped by a force from the ancient umbrella, keeping him out like an exclusionary barrier, as if all those not meant to be part of the upcoming slaughter were driven away. Since Wong Lin was in the midst of the slaughter zone within the cultivation star, he had no time to divert his attention to the Blue Dream Tao sovereign. He had to keep him out. The roaring sound intensified. All cultivators who had entered the star found their retreat blocked by the umbrella cloth. Their expressions changed instantly. The rainbow Taoist and the war ghost also paused in their steps, but they had no time to think further, as the world was consumed by the flames, roaring and surging towards them. The world incinerating ancient umbrella was not a divine ability from this realm, and after Wong Lin fully unleashed it, infusing it with his own fire origin, the ethereal flames spread out. The cultivators' minds immediately began to burn. This was Wong Lin's first time using this technique since he learned it, recklessly, without any hesitation. He had learned it from a madman, and the umbrella would first open, then shrink to kill. Threefold close. Wong Lin's expression darkened, and with a low growl, he slapped his left hand toward the sky. The sky trembled, and the massive umbrella cloth, which had been expanding, now began to shrink with thunderous roars. As the umbrella cloth contracted, like a rapidly closing parasol, the flames within it surged, growing to terrifying levels. When it was reduced by 3/4, the 3 cultivators from the 7 Paths sect of the ancient immortal domain, who hadn't reached the 3rd step, let out piercing shrieks. Their bodies burned from the inside out, turning to ash in an instant. 60%, retract. Wong Lin murmured, veins bulging on his forehead. He pushed the power of the ancient umbrella to a previously unimaginable 60%. The umbrella rapidly contracted at a visible speed, its shrill cries echoing. Even the 3 war generals and the others were struck with shock. They never expected Wong Lin to possess such a divine ability, so rare even in the immortal Aura continent. At the same time, with a roar, the ancient umbrella rapidly collapsed. Amidst the screams, it was unclear how many had perished. The 3 war generals were even more shaken, blood oozing from the corners of their mouths as they exerted their full strength to resist the firepower of the umbrella. They stretched their bodies to their limits, attempting to break free. The rainbow Taoist and the war ghost both wore grim expressions. The surrounding firestorm intensified, and even they, despite their high cultivation, had to put up resistance, for their physical bodies were not as strong as those from the ancient clan. Amidst the thunderous roars, the rainbow Taoist, inheriting the immortal venerable's divine ability, also possessed the technique of the world incinerating umbrella in his inheritance. Though it was not identical to Wong Lin's, he understood it better than most. With a roar, he leapt, the first to break free from the firestorm, brimming with killing intent, heading straight for Wong Lin. Wong Lin's eyes flashed with cold light. At 80% of his limit, he knew he couldn't push it any further, but with such power from the umbrella, he was satisfied. In that instant when the rainbow Taoist shot out, Wong Lin's left hand shot upward. The heavens roared, the earth trembled, and the rainbow light beside Wong Lin flickered rapidly. The light shot from the ground, soaring towards the sky, meeting the rainbow above that had just broken free from the firestorm. The two merged, their lights indistinguishable, creating a dazzling sight both in the sky and on the ground. A rainbow spear shot up from the earth beside Wong Lin, roaring like a dragon, heading straight for the rainbow Taoist. This scene happened so suddenly that as the rainbow Taoist emerged from the firestorm, his pupils constricted. He swung his sleeves, and his 5-petal rainbow lotus platform, which had lost 2 petals, transformed, its petals closing to protect him just like when Wong Lin used a rule-based strike earlier. But this time, the rainbow Taoist lotus platform couldn't stop Wong Lin's rainbow spear. This divine ability, like the world-incinerating umbrella, wasn't part of the Cave Mansion realm's arts. Once unleashed, if even a fraction of its power was released, the results were astounding. The spear shrieked as it neared the lotus platform. Upon contact, the 5 petals of the lotus exploded, disintegrating into fragments, while the lotus platform itself erupted in a violent explosion. Within the ruins, the rainbow Taoist's face darkened. Without hesitation, he raised his right hand, and another identical rainbow spear appeared, meeting Wong Lin's spear with a resounding clash. Boom, boom, boom. The heavens and earth shook as the 2 rainbow spears collided, sending shockwaves in all directions. In that moment, Wong Lin's 3rd ambush appeared. As the shockwaves spread, Wong Lin's true form manifested, his forehead, eyes, and star-like points spinning as the Tao ancient phantom materialized behind him. His body immediately expanded to 1,000 feet, merging with the phantom. In his hand was the heaven-splitting axe. As the spears collided and shattered, he roared to the sky and swung his axe forward. With that swing, the heaven-splitting axe screamed toward the rainbow Taoist. At that moment, the war ghost emerged from the firestorm behind him. The war ghost's eyes gleamed with greed. Seizing the opportunity as Wong Lin's true body swung the massive axe at the rainbow Taoist, the war ghost advanced with incredible speed, charging at Wong Lin's floating 3rd soul. But in Wong Lin's ambush zone, things wouldn't go as the war ghost desired. Though he was weaker than the war ghost, he had set traps. Almost as soon as the war ghost approached within 100 feet, Wong Lin's left hand suddenly rose, his 5 fingers clutching forward. 4th ambush, ghost face blood sail. The war ghost froze, confusion flashing in his eyes. A moment later, a blood-colored mist appeared before him, swirling into a gigantic red ghost face. With a silent roar, it consumed the war ghost. This illusion technique could trap even the rainbow Taoist for a while, and the war ghost couldn't escape either. As the blood mist ghost face swallowed him, the war ghost immediately sat down, his expression shifting. Meanwhile, Wong Lin's massive axe neared the rainbow Taoist. As it fell, a tremendous sound erupted, but the pure force of the true body couldn't harm the rainbow Taoist. Wong Lin knew this, so for this strike, he was willing to shatter his soldiers. The heaven-splitting giant axe shattered into pieces, and in its collapse, all of its power erupted. Amidst the rumbling sound, Wong Lin's true body suddenly disintegrated, with flesh and blood flying in all directions. Yet, as his Tao ancient indestructibility art had been prepared in advance, he continuously recovered while retreating, until, at the moment of merging with his seated clone, his injuries were fully healed. However, blood still dripped from the corner of Wong Lin's mouth, staining his white robes, a gruesome sight. Turning to the rainbow Taoist, his hair was disheveled, and madness gleamed in his eyes as he strode towards Wong Lin, his steps vicious. Meanwhile, the 3 war generals and the Palm Sovereign, who had emerged from the sea of flames, all froze in shock as soon as they took a step. Disbelief filled their eyes. They never expected to see such a scene. The war ghost, shrouded in red mist, his expression twisted, motionless within 100 feet of Wong Lin. The rainbow Taoist, with hair unkempt and looking utterly disheveled, appeared almost mad. They hadn't witnessed the earlier events, and now, seeing the aftermath, their minds were filled with terror, especially the Palm Sovereign, who could hardly believe his eyes. He knew the cultivation levels of the rainbow Taoist and war ghost, yet here they were, looking so helpless before Wong Lin. This made his heart tremble with shock. The Azure Dragon General gasped, looking at Wong Lin with unprecedented wariness. Such a contrast was deeply unsettling. The Black Tortoise General's face turned pale. He quickly turned to scan the surroundings, a sense of fear rising within him as he thought of Wong Lin's heavenly Tao. He even regretted coming here. The vermilion bird general, with a mixed expression, struggled to suppress his shock upon witnessing this scene. As for the sixth consort, she had just barely escaped the firestorm, her body already injured. Now, seeing this terrifying spectacle, her fear of Wong Lin was reignited. In truth, Wong Lin was already gravely wounded, both in his true body and in his Tao ancient clone. Had it not been for his indomitable will, he would have fainted by now. He held the advantage in his domain and had set traps, yet he was still so injured, which only highlighted the strength of the Rainbow Taoist. The killing intent from the Rainbow Taoist had reached its peak as he advanced, roaring with fury. In an instant, his right hand rose, not to seize the third soul, but to kill Wong Lin. Wong Lin's face was ashen, but his eyes remained calm. As the Rainbow Taoist approached, his right hand still gripping the Liguang Bao, he raised his left hand and pointed at the Rainbow Taoist. Heavenly Tao Netherworld, devour the heavens and earth. As his words echoed, a massive rift appeared before the Rainbow Taoist, and from it, a colossal mouth emerged. The Netherworld beast manifested, its eyes suddenly opening, revealing a cold and merciless gaze. As the Rainbow Taoist neared, the beast opened its mouth and swallowed. The Netherworld beast devoured all in its path. In an instant, several disciples of the Seven Paths sect from the ancient immortal domain, who had barely escaped the firestorm, were sucked in by a powerful pull and devoured by the beast's jaws. Even a portion of the firestorm in the sky was drawn into its mouth. The three war generals' faces changed, their bodies freezing as they attempted to resist. But the sixth consort, unable to withstand the force, screamed as her delicate form was sucked into the Netherworld beast's mouth. The Palm Sovereign stood motionless, his face drained of color. He had seen the beast once before and had suspected its true nature. The memory of its master being devoured haunted him, and now, seeing the cold and ruthless gaze of the Netherworld beast, all doubt vanished. Fear gripped him, and he frantically retreated. The Rainbow Taoist's expression shifted as he suddenly stopped in his tracks, staring in shock at the Netherworld beast. Heavenly Tao. The Netherworld beast was incomplete and unable to devour too strong a person, something Wong Lin was aware of. The reason he chose this beast for his fifth ambush was precisely to shock the Rainbow Taoist at this very moment. After all, Wong Lin couldn't use the body immobilization art on the Rainbow Taoist due to the backlash. So, he had summoned the Netherworld beast to create a similar effect. Sixth ambush. Wong Lin's lips curled into a faint, sinister smile, though it was weak, and blood continued to spill from his mouth. This eerie, bloodstained smile sent chills down the spine. He slammed his left hand into the ground, channeling a technique he learned from the second-generation Vermilion Bird, White Tiger's secret art. A series of tremors surged from his hand, sending waves of force deep into the earth, awakening the mutated eye fish buried beneath. At that very moment, the blood-colored circle that Wong Lin had drawn around his body with blood immediately shot into the air. The restraints within it dissolved, causing the bloodlust and the primordial energies of the heavens and earth to explode without any concealment. In the flash of this blood-red circle, it darted directly toward the seven colors. The instant the seven colors regained their senses from the shock of the path of heaven, the blood-red circle exploded violently. A massive surge of energy filled the air around the seven colors Taoist. In that split second, the ground of the cultivation star trembled violently, and a roar, one that seemed to have slumbered for countless millennia and looked down upon the world, echoed from deep beneath the earth. As the roar resounded, the yellow sand of the land was instantly thrown into the air. With the roar, the entire cultivation star shook violently. The earth in front of Wong Lin, spanning several thousand feet, suddenly sank. Immediately after, the roar grew louder, and as the ground caved in, a flash of black light erupted. A serpentine beast shot up from the depths of the earth. This beast, several thousand feet in circumference, was covered in a thick layer of earth. It resembled a gigantic mud loach, with its mouth the only part protruding. From a distance, it appeared as though the creature's large mouth took up its entire head, and it charged directly at the Seven Colors Taoist. Its eyes were shut tightly, seemingly never to open again. If there had been tentacles outside its body, it might have resembled the moon-watching silk, but now, it looked vastly different. The ground shook violently as the beast roared and charged toward the Seven Colors Taoist. Just as it was about to devour him, the Seven Colors Taoist swiftly performed a hand seal and slapped forward. The slap, glowing with seven-colored light, landed on the beast's head. A thunderous sound reverberated through the heavens and earth. The beast howled in pain as its body was forced back 100 feet. However, as its head twisted and contracted, it suddenly lunged forward, sucking in violently toward the Seven Colors Taoist from over 100 feet away. At this sudden pull, the Seven Colors Taoist's body shook, and his internal seven-colored light flared, turning into threads of smoke and rapidly flowing toward the beast's mouth, which swallowed a significant portion of it. The Seven Colors Taoist's face changed. The three great generals and others behind him also showed varying degrees of shock. The appearance and aura of the beast were extremely formidable. Its presence alone shook their spirits, particularly the three great generals and the Palm Sovereign, who instantly recognized the beast's identity the moment they saw its head devouring the energy. "Eye fish. It's the eye fish. There's a beast here. I sensed it earlier, but I didn't expect it to be the eye fish, an unrestricted eye fish. It's grown endlessly over countless millennia." The Palm Sovereign gasped, his gaze full of grave seriousness. "There's a beast in the immortal aura, called the eye fish. From birth to death, its eyes are always shut, never once opening. However, there are rumors that if the eye fish opens its eyes, the heavens and earth will tremble." The Black Tortoise General gazed at the eye fish, his mind filled with various rumors about this creature. The eye fish, while absorbing, suddenly lurched and charged again toward the Seven Colors Taoist. This beast held a deep grudge, for the Seven Colors Taoist's earlier slap had caused it great pain. Now, it was charging in fury, its mouth wide open, eager to devour once more. The beast's body was so vast that the part now emerging from the earth was barely half of it. Even so, as it charged, it seemed to darken the skies, casting an eerie shadow over the land. The Seven Colors Taoist's eyes flashed with murderous intent. As the eye fish neared, he raised his hands and formed a seal. With a swift motion, his right hand pointed toward the sky. "Force that can move mountains." The Seven Colors Taoist muttered as he swung his arm. In an instant, a massive seven-colored arm materialized from the dark heavens, shooting downward to grab the eye fish. Before anyone could react, the giant arm grabbed the charging eye fish, and with a mighty shout from the Seven Colors Taoist, it yanked the beast upward. The ground rumbled as the eye fish, with its body stretching over several thousand feet, was pulled from the depths below, its struggles and roars echoing in the air. With a forceful fling, the Seven Colors Taoist threw the massive creature toward the distant land, causing the cultivation star to shake violently. Cracks appeared all over the land, as if it were about to break apart. The enormous body of the eye fish crashed into the earth, its skin tearing open, spilling purple blood that mixed with the yellow sand. A pitiful howl escaped the eye fish's mouth as it trembled, trying desperately to open its tightly closed eyes, but to no avail. It seemed an invisible force was preventing it from opening its eyes. Yet, its haunting cries caused the entire cultivation star to tremble. Just as the Seven Colors Taoist turned to walk toward Wong Lin, his expression suddenly changed drastically. The cultivation star trembled, and a rumbling sound erupted from the ground. In the 8 locations of the yellow sand desert on this star, an immense roar rang out. With the naked eye, one could see the yellow sand swirling and rising, forming towering sand mountains like a range, all charging toward this place. 8 towering sand mountains, formed in straight lines, raced toward the location at an incredible speed. In the blink of an eye, they arrived, and with a deafening crash, the 8 sand mountains collapsed, and from within them shot out 8 dim, massive shadows. These were not mountains at all. They were clearly the 8 ocular fish beasts, each tens of thousands of zhang in size, coming from all directions. This star did not have one ocular fish, but 9. Apart from the first one, which lay gravely wounded in the distance. The remaining 8 ocular fish roared as they emerged from the earth, surrounding the rainbow Taoist on all sides. Once they appeared, they all opened their massive jaws and lunged toward him, ready to devour him. The ground trembled and the sand rushed at him. Yet Wong Lin remained seated, having retrieved his third soul. His right hand gripped the Liguang Bao tightly, and his gaze was fixed on the sky. He sat motionless, like a statue, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, when he would unleash an attack so powerful that it would shake the heavens and make even ghosts weep. At that instant, as the 8 ocular fish attacked, Wong Lin suddenly rose. He raised his right hand with the bow, pulling back the string with his left hand. With a hum, the bow was drawn back to the shape of a full moon. The arrow materialized on the string, its tip aimed directly at the rainbow Taoist, emitting a deep hum, with an aura of destruction emanating from it. Without hesitation, Wong Lin released the bowstring. It snapped back with a thunderous force, propelling the arrow forward, tearing through the air toward the rainbow Taoist. The moment the arrow was released, the sky darkened, the earth trembled, and the air was filled with an indescribable killing intent. The arrow ripped through space, tearing apart the heavens, the earth, and all obstacles in its path, charging toward the rainbow Taoist. The Palm Sovereign's face turned pale as he staggered backward. He had died from this arrow twice before, and the memory still haunted him. The 3 war generals were also filled with terror, their heads tingling as they recognized the power of this arrow from their past encounters. Wong Lin's timing was impeccable. Just as the 8 ocular fish were about to devour the rainbow Taoist, his arrow flew. The rainbow Taoist's expression changed drastically, and his pupils contracted as he quickly formed seals with his hands. A radiant 7-colored light began to flicker and envelop his body. At that moment, as the ocular fish charged, Wong Lin's arrow shot through the 7-colored light, striking the rainbow Taoist with an explosive force. Boom, boom, boom. The violent explosion echoed around the star, causing the cultivation star to crack and fragment, with debris scattering in all directions. Wong Lin staggered backward, blood spilling from the corner of his mouth, but he still gripped the bow tightly. The 3 war generals were swept by the shockwave, their bodies sprayed with blood as they retreated in fear. But just then, an enraged roar rang out, and the 8 ocular fish, drenched in purple blood, were pushed back 1,000 zhang. The 7-colored lights surrounding the rainbow Taoist flickered and dimmed, revealing him. His chest was soaked in blood as the Liguang arrow had pierced him, though the rainbow Taoist had grasped the arrow's tail, preventing it from completely piercing his body. With a pale face, the rainbow Taoist grimaced in fury and pulled the arrow from his chest, blood spraying everywhere, making the scene even more horrifying. As he yanked the arrow free, the 8 ocular fish roared in unison, their eyes suddenly opening just slightly, unleashing a wave of black light. In an instant, they went berserk and charged toward the rainbow Taoist once again, this time with an overwhelming force far stronger than before. Wong Lin, without hesitation, switched the bow to his left hand, and with a flicker of golden light in his eyes, he drew the bow again. The arrow that had been in the rainbow Taoist's hand vanished, reappearing on Wong Lin's bowstring. With a killing intent in his eyes, Wong Lin let go of the string, and the second arrow soared, a streak of light like a rainbow, shooting toward the rainbow Taoist. In the starry sky, a group of people led by an elder with the surname Ma stood at a distance. They did not take part in the wild slaughter unfolding before them. At this moment, as they watched Wong Lin open the Liguang Bao twice in succession and felt the overwhelming power within it, their expressions all changed simultaneously. The elder with the surname Ma's pupils contracted, his face filled with shock. It was the first time he had seen Wong Lin use the Liguang Bao, and the sensation was incredibly intense. The Liguang Bao is actually in his hands. I understand now. His visit to the 5 elements star was not only to rely on the path of heaven, but the greater reliance was on this Bao. Yun Yifeng's expression remained calm, but inside, his heart surged with turmoil. His right hand clenched tightly, a move to cover up the terror he felt deep within. He suddenly felt very relieved that during his visit to the 5 elements star, He hadn't forced the other party to use the bow. When it came to this bow, he had no confidence at all in being able to resist even a single shot's power.